How do I 10x my content with this? And so she's a digital marketing scaling expert. She helps coaches scale online, and she's been going into the ChatGPT kind of world. And we actually connected through being in Thailand/Bali. I put it out there on social media. Who wants to come on the podcast and talk about how digital marketers can use ChatGPT to be more effective, and just what are the tips and tricks? So yeah, we have Bonnie here today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's gonna be fun.
Awesome. So yeah, guys, if you want to check her out, her website will be in the link below, as well as her Instagram if you want to follow her stuff. And yeah, this is basically kind of like a mini webinar today. She has this whole presentation already put together. I was like, yeah, come on, let's share it, because a lot of guys are asking me about ChatGPT, and I'm personally interested as a content creator. How do I use this to be 10x more productive this year? So super exciting space. So
Amazing.
yeah, I'll give it to you.
Cool. Awesome. All right.
Awesome. So see if you can share your screen. Okay, boom. There we go. And yeah, I see your PowerPoint right now.
Amazing. Okay, cool. All right, guys, what's up? What's up? It's good to see you, and I'm super excited to talk to you about how can you 10x your content this year. So here's what you're going to expect after you're through this training. After you're done with this, you should expect to feel like your content is 10 times easier. You're going to be more productive. You're going to have a lot more fun when you're making your content. And here's what we're going to go through. We're going to talk about the 5 golden rules to getting better results with AI. We'll go through how agency owners, freelancers, podcasters, YouTubers, and high-ticket sales reps can use this to rapidly scale. We'll go through how you can use AI-driven content and make sure that you're not wasting your time, because if you don't understand a few things, it could be totally counterproductive. I'll also unlock some of my favorite AI cheat codes for writing highly persuasive content. And last but not least, we'll talk about how can you rapidly scale and really even make millions of dollars using tools like ChatGPT. So,
wow, exciting.
I'm excited too. Let's go. So I want to start this off with a frame of talking about how do we really blow up fast. And I'm going to reference the book, The 10X Rule, which is a New York Times bestseller by Grant Cardone. And Grant really talks about how at the very top level, it's actually not crowded, because very few people are willing to do the work that it takes to get to that top level. And Grant suggests that you dream 10 times bigger and you do 10 times as much work. And this was actually recently echoed by Alex Hormozi, who did a mentoring call with Grant. He talked about how he grew 1.2 million audience members in 6 months, and he did it by doing 10 times as much as what would have been expected. He was posting a couple times a week, and then he ramped it up to 70 times per week. So he said, if you can 10x your output, I promise you, you're going to get a 10x return. I promise you, if you do less or do more, you won't get less, right?
Yep.
So what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that, Riley? Is that...
Yeah, time, man. I got so much going on already.
Right, exactly. And a lot of people are already kind of burnt out, and if you're solo, right, you don't have a team of people working on every single channel for you like Alex does. So it doesn't end up being very practical for most people. Right. And this is where ChatGPT comes in, like our little content genie, which is amazing. And just like any genie, if you don't know how to ask it the right questions, unfortunately, you're not going to get the very best outcome. So think of ChatGPT kind of like a robot, but it's kind of like having an assistant that went to Harvard, and you're pretty sure that he or she studied encyclopedias for fun and is overly concerned with being politically correct. So if you ask AI to bump out some content just as is, it's going to sound dry AF, and it's not going to be that fun or engaging. So we have to understand how to use it to get the best results. Now, before we dive further, I really trust the fact that your time is very precious, and I want to let you know that you're in good hands in taking some time to learn from me. So here's some quick facts. I've had the honor and the privilege of helping multiple brands scale to multiple six figures in their first 6 months. My total client results to date are over 6.5 million. I've been featured in Forbes as a top-ranked expert in my field. I've worked one-on-one with mentors like Russell Brunson, the co-founder of ClickFunnels. I've read tons of books, taken expensive courses and mentorship programs. I've also had the honor and the privilege of hiring badass workers everywhere from $3 an hour to $20,000 gigs. And I've helped over 11,000 people with my online training on outsourcing. So trust that you can understand that I'm coming to this from the frame of understanding workers. I'm taking this from the frame of understanding copy and persuasion really well, and understanding exactly how AI can come in and help us become superhuman and really help our teams 10x this year. So let's establish the rules of the game, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So rule number one is I want you to assume that AI can understand you like a human. So you can chat with it like a human. You can say, hey, like, this is pretty good, but you need to make this part better.
Do better.
You do better.
You're just all right, Can you be better, please?
Can you be better, please?
Yeah.
But you need to be specific about how it needs to be better. So just like in the hiring world, like if you give unclear instructions, you're going to get crappy results. The same is true with the AI prompts, right? So you need to be extremely clear in your prompts about exactly what you want. What's the exact tone? Exactly who are you making this for? What's the number of words that you want? And if you need to change something, be exact about what needs to change. And even using direct quotes is really, really good and helpful for it. Always give clear feedback. So do better is good. But what would be even better to say is, can you make the opening line more catchy and persuasive and potentially use clickbait? I don't know. I don't know your style, but that's one way to be more clear. Always know that you can use the software itself to teach you things. So you can ask you can ask ChatGPT, can you give me some prompts around writing blah, 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 and it'll generate some ideas for you. And last but not least, and this is one of the most important things, ChatGPT is a starting point for great content, but you get to add your own flavor to it. Okay. So I've been in this industry for a long time and I've seen a lot of things come and go. And I promise you, like using content directly generated just from ChatGPT, right, as your main and primary content source and doing nothing with it, it might work today. A year from now, 2 years from now, it's not going to work, right? People buy emotionally and they connect with brands emotionally and they justify with logic later. So if your brand voice lacks a heartbeat, it lacks you. People aren't going to know who you are. They're not going to connect with you. And it's not going to work as well as infusing your own voice, your own personality into things. So think of it as a starting point, not a final destination. Make sense?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, it's good for like the first draft to get over writer's block, to come up with, it's basically the first draft of it. You come over, you edit out of your flavor, and then boom, you got something good.
Amazing. Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about who can use this. So one really great usage is like, let's say you were trying to get a high ticket sales job, right? What could you use ChatGPT for? Well, you could analyze different job ads and you could say, hey, ChatGPT, can you tell me the values of this company? Can you write a list of those values that they seem to care about in an employee? Can you then draft a cover letter to complement them on some of their values? And can you actually talk about how I embody some of those values and use some of the same words, but not too many because we don't want to be too obvious. So here's the output from that for those of you watching on YouTube. Like, it gives you the exact output: be ambitious, be self-motivated, yada, yada, yada. And then within seconds, it's drafted a cover letter that embodies that. And that's good for a first go, but I think we can make it even better from a hiring standpoint. So here's what I would do. I would explain why something specific about their company excited you. And I would also include some of your specific experiences and have ChatGPT take your resume or like some like specific experiences and weave it into the things that they're looking for and show how you embody it. So for instance, like let's say they really value resilience and you sold Cutco knives. Amazing. Why don't you include that and say like, have ChatGPT draft something up for you and then you tweak it from there. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So another important way you could use this, like let's say you're doing high ticket sales or really honestly any kind of area within digital marketing, like an important skill set is to connect with influencers, right? But it's hard to connect with influencers because they're busy. But one of the best ways to do that is to use a sincere compliment, which is great. But not everybody knows how to give a really good compliment. Some people aren't very good with finding the right words. So what could you do? Okay. Well, let's say I'm trying to connect with Miss Lori Harder. I could take a summary of one of her podcasts and I could say, can you use this text to write a compliment saying that you liked her podcast and include some specific things that you really enjoyed about it, but keep it really casual and put it in like, for me, funny girlfriend speak. So immediately later, it comes back with this. Hi, Lori. I just wanted to say that I absolutely loved your recent podcast. It was so relatable, and the advice you gave about shifting certain practices in the new year really hit home for me. I've been trying to focus more on building more authentic connections and leaving people pleasing behind, and your words really resonated with me. I've already started implementing some of the things that you talked about in my own life, and I feel so much more happy and energized as a result. Your podcast has been a great source of blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you get the idea. Seconds later,
Wow.
that's fucking brilliant, huh?
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. You could do the same exact thing using a tool called Merlin and leave authentic comments to posts. Like, I don't know about you, Riley, but
I got Merlin yesterday. That's funny.
oh, you did amazing. Look at
Yeah.
you. You're so good. Yeah, I mean, for me, like I gotta tell you, I never leave comments on pretty much anyone's stuff unless it's heart, because I don't have time to go around on Instagram and say much,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
So you could literally do this yourself, or you could have an assistant do it, and you could have your dream 100 list, people who you're dying to connect with, right? Whether that's for a job or it's for just, connecting with them in general, and have an assistant leave a comment on their stuff once a week. So you start to ping up on their radar. And what you can do with Merlin is you can actually use it and highlight the text, right? On someone's specific Instagram comment, use it in the web browser, and Merlin will automatically create like a compliment for them. So you can say, "What can you basically tell me why you loved what she had to say and how it helped you? Please generate 3 iterations." And then seconds later, it comes back with this. Lori, you're so right. This is brilliant. And it really resonated with me. It's so true that we become our best selves and we will disappoint some people along the way, but it's so worth it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's insane, right?
Yeah.
But like stuff like this actually does get on the radar of people who even like Lori, who have really big followings, because they pay attention to who's paying attention to them and who's supporting their work, So if you're looking to build connections with influencers so that you can network, JV, get jobs, like this is a really good thing to do. How else could you do this? So you could also use this for lead generation. You can have an assistant like leave customized comments to people who look like they could be leads for you. You could do 100 people a day, right? Get someone on Upwork and get them very affordably to do this for you. If you are in sales or pretty much any other industry, you could follow up when somebody ghosted you, right? So it can craft a custom follow-up based off of the last thing that happened. Hey, I just want to check in and make sure everything's okay. I noticed you didn't respond to my previous message and just want to make sure everything was cool, right? You could use ChatGPT to take notes on a sales call, right? So I'm sure you know this, Riley, because you've worked in high ticket sales, right? Like what's one of the most important things is helping people feel understood. If people feel like you understand them, you understand what's getting in their way, you understand what they're looking for, you understand like what's blocking them, and you can say that back to them using some of their own exact words, like that's going to increase your sales. Can I say? That's going to increase your close rate by a lot. And from my own experience, like you could take some of these things and you could have an assistant take a phone call and just break it up into chunks, right? And take notes on these things in a 2-call close system, right? I've done this personally, and I've actually done it manually with like virtual assistants where they take notes on all my sales calls. I have an extremely high close rate for my high tickets, like 80 or 90%. My packages are really not cheap at all, so it's a really good way to just close more sales.
Nice. I've also seen there's plugins for Google Meets and for Zoom where it will transcribe the call. And then I've done this, tried it a couple of times. Just paste that into ChatGPT. Hey, give me the top 5 takeaways from this call, and it'll give you five things.
It's amazing. And I think there's even software right now that exists that's like automatically doing stuff like this. I don't know the name just yet, but it's all.
I'm sure there is probably, just like after the call, boom, it emails you the top, main points from the meeting. Boom.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
So ChatGPT can also help you handle objections, right? So you could ask it to list out some specific objections to a product if you're creating a sales page, or you could probably copy and paste a specific comment that someone made and say, how would I answer this objection? And the power of having that, particularly if you're newer to sales, is very, very cool. Digital marketing agencies. Okay. So another big way that we can use this is if we're a digital marketing agency or freelancer, and there's a lot of money to be made here, right? And I think one of the most powerful ways that that can happen is by adding new services that are content driven and, writing more content for your clients. So I've heard rumors on the interwebs that there are already people who are using this exact framework to make millions of dollars by pairing AI and freelancers to like rewrite and buff up the content. But like, let's say you don't have the skill set of hiring freelancers just yet. What's really cool is I already know of people who are charging $1,500 a month per client, and they are taking content that is directly generated from ChatGPT. They're telling the people that it is software generated and without naming it. And they're charging old school companies that are completely out of touch with technology decent money to do this. And they're doing year-long contracts of like $1,500 a month and stacking these. And they're just basically writing emails for them because the ChatGPT is going to do it automatically. And they're spending a couple hours a month doing this. And I think that's a really smart way to scale. And I actually do think you could charge far more than that if you were customizing it a bit more. But even $1,500 a month for just repackaging this is brilliant.
That's great.
Yeah. Drop shippers. So if you had a drop shipping company, one of the most obvious uses is going to be product descriptions, because I have heard rumors that there's a lot of them and they're a pain in the butt to write. So you can actually just like have an outsourced worker take some of the product descriptions that maybe you get like manually from, wherever your source is, and say, hey, can you rewrite this? Right. You could also use it to encourage customer reviews. You could use it to make social media posts. You could use it to write an abandoned cart email. Yes. And sequence it specifically like a few hours out, right? Super cool. I don't know if I should read this. I'll read one because I think it's fun, but this is for a fake product not for drop shippers, but for an online course. And it says, hey there, I noticed you were about to purchase our amazing online course, but you didn't quite make it to the finish line. Don't worry, I'm not mad. I'm just a little sad for you that you didn't get to experience all the amazing things that this course has to offer. Like, like how good is that, right? Like, I don't think I could have written that personally, right? So you could obviously have your assistant program all this. There's so many different things you can do with it. Like, the sky really is the limit, from JV partnerships to pitching, like pretty much anything. For YouTubers, what I found are some of the coolest usages are giving it specific prompts. So you can have it write a day in the life video, a how-to video, a before and after video, a top 10 video, a myth busting video, a Q&A style video, like kind of like Riley and I are doing right now, except we're like a little more webinar-y, but like it could script out a Q&A video, a reaction style video, a vlog, a challenge, a comedy sketch, like you name it. And I've read some of these and they're good starting grounds for sure. You just need to be specific about like what you want it to say and what you want it to be about.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know just what's the topic of my next video going to be. And you could even ask, you know, what are 10 potential video topics that I could make for a nomad or an audience of aspiring digital nomads? And then boom, here are 10 potential video topics. And it gets me rolling.
Amazing. Yeah, that's a super smart way to use it. So you could use it to generate video concepts like Riley's saying. You can use it for thumbnail ideas. It'll tell you exactly based off the video text what your thumbnail should be. You can use it for video scripts, engaging hooks, calls to actions, making your content more readable, persuasive, etc. You can use it for titles, although I think TubeBuddy is probably better because it like is more integrated into like exactly what is ranking right now and where you could potentially rank. But either way, it's a good starting ground for titles. So there's so many different ways that you can use it. You can use it for articles and you know, creating lists and disadvantages, yada, yada, yada. And email marketing, you could have it re-engage inactive subscribers, create drip campaigns to nurture people into sales. You could have them write flash sale things, upsells and downsells. Again, the sky is the limit. For podcasters, you could use it for descriptions, sponsorships, intros, outros, pitching guests, like emails to listeners, like you name it. So the most powerful way we can grow with this, right? You're probably asking, okay, great, Bon, this is cool. You're giving all these lists. I like it. But like, come on, girl. Like, how do we integrate this so I can 10X, right? It's a good question. So what you can do is you can develop a team and get them to repurpose the crap out of this, right? So you can take a YouTube video and turn it into a Twitter tweet. You can take it and turn it into a LinkedIn article. You can take it and turn it into a blog post, turn it into an email. You can have them watch that video and ChatGPT can actually tell you exactly what to write in the email based off of the video text. I did this as an example for Alex Hermosi, and it sounds disturbingly like Alex. I don't tell me when you want me to read these things, Riley, because I don't want to read every single one, but this one's like freaky and scary.
What's up? I want to share with you a video I think you'll get a kick of. First of all, about the impact of artificial intelligence on society and how we can prepare for it or take advantage of it if you're smart. Basically, talk about how AI is going to change the nature of work. Yeah, so that's funny. On Hormozzi's AI video, I actually pasted the transcript into ChatGPT and asked for like bullet point summary. And then I put it in the YouTube comments. I'm like, here's what ChatGPT says is the takeaways of this video.
That's so funny. I think a lot of people did. I did the same thing. I actually summarized the video because I was like, he said some smart things. I want to hear what he said, but I don't want to watch it again. Because it freaked me out a little. So that's awesome. And again, remember, you have to give it feedback, right? So the first time it put it together, it like put it in the wrong tense. Like it put it as if like it was writing about Alex. And I was like, no, write this pretending you are Alex, because I wanted to see if it could do it. And it did. And then I said, make it more casual, use frat boy tone, use a sarcastic and funny voice, and add bullet points about what they're going to learn. And with that much detail, it was able to do something much better than the first try. Your team could use a tool like Descript, which is DESCRIPT. And Descript actually is a content repurposing tool, which will actually take any person who has the ability to edit a Word document and turn them into a video editor for the purposes of repurposing. It can take any video and like, let's say you wanted to edit out a sentence. Like I've had a couple stumbles in this thing. Like if we were trying to be perfect and edit those things out, someone could just literally copy highlight the area where I stumbled and just delete it just like that. And so it's super powerful, and it can actually automatically create repurposable content in short form and like branded content, all these things. So it's very, very cool. You can also use AI to understand your voice. And if you wanted to, it could dub in words you didn't say. I don't see a lot of practical usages for that for me, but like I think it's really scary and cool. So it's interesting to me. And you can do all of this using it for TikTok and having it teach you how to make better TikToks, yada, 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 and take your long form content and have it turned into short form content on TikTok. The thing I will mention about repurposing that's like a refinement, because I know that's a common tip, is you need to make sure that you're starting your content with a really strong hook. Remember that people are going to click off that video within 3 seconds if you don't capture their attention. So make sure that you do that. And if you don't know what it is, you can ask ChatGPT to write one for you. So you can, at a minimum, put a text hook at the beginning of that video so people know why they're watching it. And then the other thing that's important with that is like, you got to make sure that like as much as possible, you're filling the frame, because apps like Instagram don't really like it when you have a big border around things, and they won't really show it to as many people. So that's important. So try to fill the frame with like a full face when you can. So let's talk about the drawbacks of ChatGPT, because it is not perfect. It's in its infancy, and it has some things that are kind of a bummer. So what are those things? So the first thing is that the inherent output that is generated by ChatGPT is not great for SEO. It's not great for SEO. It's unfortunately heavily backed by Microsoft, and Google is scared AF of what is coming, because ChatGPT is not, it's not as powerful as Google yet, but it's going to be way more powerful. And I think that Google is scared, in my own opinion. And for that reason, they penalize any content that is written by AI. And what I've noticed is a really easy workaround is you can just take that content and you can bring it into originality.ai, and that will tell you if there's any plagiarized content within that. And it will also tell you if it was AI generated, and almost everything you put into ChatGPT is like 97% AI generated. And so it won't rank in Google unless you go to a tool like Quellebot. So Quellbot, which is Quill bot, is a website where you can take your content and it will paraphrase it and make it sound more human, and it will help you rank any of that content automatically. I will give you my professional opinion as someone who is an advanced copywriter and persuasion expert. I would say that the content that comes out of Quellbot is not awesome. I think that the content that comes out of ChatGPT is awesome as a starting point. The Quellbot content feels a little clunky to me. So like if you're using it just to like rank product descriptions, I think that's fine. But in an ideal reality, like I think getting an assistant to make it like sound a little better is going to make more sense, because sometimes the initial output with the paraphrasing is it's a little awkward. So I wouldn't be like using that as my forward-facing copy. I think I would get like an intern, a writing assistant, someone to like just make it a little smoother. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. Other drawbacks of ChatGPT is that it gets offended easily. It's like your friend that you know in school that's like, that's offensive. That's very offensive to me. So like it does not like content that is not politically correct, sexual, and like occasionally it doesn't even want to be funny or sarcastic. Like I've had a few prompts this week where it was like, my primary job is not to be funny. It's to give you accurate information. I'm like, oh, ChatGPT, you know you can be funny.
Really?
Like, yeah, totally. But it's kind of like your friend, right, who was a little uptight in college, who like didn't want to do anything fun, and you just had to be like, come on, let's go, it's okay, and just ask in a different way, and it's like, all right, let's do it. So like a lot of the times you can work around things, and you just have to ask in sort of a different way, but it is inherently a little bit adverse to these areas, and I find that kind of a bummer. Okay, other big drawback of ChatGPT is that it's inherently a little basic, right? So how is ChatGPT getting this content? It's analyzed billions of words on the internet, and it literally has taken billions of words, and it just tries to predict based off of what other people have already said, to see like, okay, well, based off of this, like what would logically come next? But what does that kind of make you? It kind of makes you basic AF, right? Because you're only taking from what's already been said. And a lot of the times that can generate amazing responses to humans if it's like interpersonal. But when it comes to content creation, we don't want to be basic. We want to stand out. We want to have a unique brand voice. We want to have that heartbeat, right? So you have to add your own voice tone to it. And I'm going to give you some tips to make it a little better from the start in just a second. Last little bummer is that if you're using the web app, it does have a character limit. And so it's about 2,048 characters, and that's about 3 pages of text. So what's annoying about that is, like, let's say you had that sales call, you couldn't just copy and paste the whole thing in there and be like, tell me what the person is afraid of. You'd have to basically take the content and then have someone like put it in 3-page chunks, which I think is a little annoying. I'm sure that if you had GPT-3 and you had like programming skills, you could get around that really quickly, but I don't. So that's what we're limited to here.
Yeah, I'm going to be Googling a way to get around that because, that is a big pain, is pasting it in chunks if it's a long podcast.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's annoying. I mean, I think, so I heard it integrates with Zapier, so I haven't done anything with that. And then, I mean, I don't know how to do code, but I've heard that you can have it code things for you. So that's amazing.
You can ask ChatGPT to code for you. I've experimented with that. That's another whole crazy thing. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'd love to hear more about that. That's so cool. All right. So how do we get the content to sound better from a starting ground and not sound basic? Well, the first thing we're going to want to do is master our tone. So we don't want to sound like a robot, right? That's not going to connect. That's not going to sell. So what we need to do is often use the prompt, can you make this way more casual? So I can tell you this from someone who's studied copy, persuasion, worked with people like Russell Brunson as one-on-one mentors. Copy that is formal rarely works. We almost always want to cut through the noise and talk to people like they are our very best friend. Why? When we do that, when we talk to people like they're our very best friend, A, we're more likely to be ourselves, and B, people don't have their guard up. And they're more likely to trust you because you're talking to them like a human. If I said, hello, Riley. Hello, listeners. I am so pleased to be chatting with you today about this artificial intelligence known as ChatGPT and how you can use this to become an extraordinary influencer in today's society, right? Like, you wouldn't listen to me. You'd be like, who is this chick?
Yeah, she's a robot.
Right? A robot, right? I don't sound real. I don't sound natural. So more often than not, you're going to want to use the prompt to make things way more casual. You can ask it to make it funny. Some of my favorite tones are frat boy tone. I like that for digital marketers because it's very casual and it has like a fun vibe. I like spiritual boss babe as a tone. I like girlfriend speak. And you can experiment with this and make it your own. So literally just play with different wordings of, describing characters and see what comes back. Even more fun.
Grant Cardotone, where you say 10x every sentence.
Yeah, exactly. So like, let's say you were using this to like write ads to like Grant's audience, right? If we were using the spiritual boss babe tone and we're like constantly talking about our yoni, right? Like that's not going to fly well with Grant's people. They're going to be like, what is that? What are you talking about? So we need to modify our voice a little bit depending on our audience. And when you're doing ads driven stuff, like you could literally say, like, if let's say you're targeting Grant's audience, like you could literally say, like, can you use Grant Cardone's tone and then modify it to make it a little bit more like you? And I did this and it came out okay, but it was a little stiff. So I said, hey, like, this is good, but like, can you make it a little less stiff and more fluid and just like way more casual? And the second result was really, really good. It was like, yo, if you want to dominate in business, you got to go big or go home. That means doing 10x more than your competition. But let's be real. That kind of hustle and grind can be freaking exhausting. And that's where AI comes in. With AI on your side, you can delegate the tedious tasks, yada, yada, yada. Get the idea. It's like freaking incredible. Sometimes it's a little cartoony, like with the, mimicking people's voices. So you can tell them to like exaggerate it or like make it a little less. You have to play with it, but it's quite incredible what it can do. And it's not just Grant, it's other influencers too. You could use Marie Forleo's tone. You could use any really popular person before 2021. So let's kind of go into like how, even with using all these things, your content could still fall flat in terms of like actually getting you sales, right? Because that's the most important thing, is like, does this content actually have an ROI? So let me share with you what one of my mentors shared with me. So I worked with this gentleman. His name is Andy Jenkins. He's passed away, unfortunately, but he made over $500 million online. And he said to me, Bonnie, there's one thing that very few people are willing to do that will make the difference between whether they are a millionaire and whether they are not, and it is market research. If you don't know who you're talking to, none of your content will work, I promise you. And so just like in real life, we don't know who we're talking to, we can't persuade them because we don't understand what motivates them, what drives them, all of these things. The same is true with our copy. So how do we do this without it being annoying? Well, traditionally, I would have an international worker go through and analyze different people's pain points and go to their sales pages and kind of write up what are the people frustrated with, what are they looking to achieve, like what do they want, what are their dreams, their desires, yada, yada, yada. What's really cool is this AI software can automate a lot of that for you and save you a lot of time. So you could have an assistant come together, put together a list of all the different, like let's say courses in a particular field, put it on a spreadsheet, then have them copy and paste different sections of that into the ChatGPT and ask it, what is the customer frustrated with? What are they looking to achieve? What are their dreams? What are their desires? And what are their pain points? And please put this in two bulleted lists. Do that for a couple of different competitors, combine it, and ask ChatGPT to put stars next to anything that's coming up a lot so you can see what the most common pain points are. Then start a new chat. Don't do it in the same one because then it's going to use some of the same words and we don't want to plagiarize. And have it generate a sales page with those pain points in mind. You'll be shocked what comes back. It is going to save you so much time. And you can use this, right? Understanding what people want to help motivate your customers and make better social media content, throughout every single touch point in your content. What do you think so far, Riley?
Oh man, it's like, yeah, that's ChatGPT in a nutshell. It's a little bit of overwhelm as well. Not only the tool, but the amount of things you can do with the tool. So it's like, where do I get started? And like, that's a lot of us are going through right now. But
It's
this
like
is a video that I'm already taking screenshots of myself, and we'll come back to. So
I freaking love that. That's great. What a compliment. Okay, so I'm going to give you some cheat codes for those of you who are advanced marketers and those of you who are just starting out, so you can understand like some prompts you can play with to make highly effective ads. A little background is like I've had the good fortune of making highly effective cold traffic ads and actually scaling a product to a multiple six-figure level myself with ice cold traffic. People who didn't know of me on Monday handed me $1,000 on Thursday again and again and again and again in mass. And so I want to give you some prompts that from that background and experience, I noticed I used in my own ads without even knowing what they are per se, that really helped me, that I hope really help you. Okay, so one is the imagine prompt. Anytime you can get somebody to imagine themselves already having the product, the service in their hands, it's really powerful. It's neuro-linguistic programming at its core, and it really just helps persuade people with allowing themselves to understand the benefit of them actually holding the product or service in their hands, so to speak. So you can say, can you write a paragraph helping a specific person imagining themselves owning this product or service? And then it'll write it out for you. Another really powerful prompt you can use is the ADA prompt. ADA stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. It's a classic advertising saying. Basically, we want to capture somebody's attention right away within those first 3 seconds. We want to pique their interest so they stick around. We want to get that desire ramped up so they understand why they might want this, and we want to get them to take action and move along to the next step in our sales process. So that's something you can use as well, ADA. So write an ADA prompt for me about XYZ specifics. The PAS framework, which is problem, agitate, solution. This is something that's really good for webinars. I actually worked with a world-class webinar expert, and he said to me, your webinar is good, but you're not really agitating the wound at all. And you're not really giving people a reason to buy. So you're just saying what the modules are doing. It's cool and everything, but you're not getting people excited. He said, instead, what I want you to do, and he said, use this framework. He said, tell them what their problem is, get them a little agitated about it, and understand how that really affects them and hurts them without taking action on it, and then give them the solution that you're going to give them in the product. So for instance, you could say, are you frustrated with doing so much content? And are you finding that doing all this content is preventing you from going to really cool parties, and you're actually just staying in all the time and missing out on spending time with your friends and family? Yeah, it sucks, right? Guess what? In this imaginary product, I'm going to give you the solution to that, because I'm going to help you really take back your time and really be able to generate 10 times as much content in seconds. Let's go. So that kind of thing. People are like, oh, that sounds really good. ChatGPT can do that for you automatically. Some more things. I'm going to say these slowly for y'all on the podcast. Is the FAB, features, advantages, benefits. SAR, situation, action, and result. The PAST framework. I won't spell that one, but it's spelled PAST, P-A-S-T. Pain, P-A-I-N. Care, C-A-R-E, B-A-B, before, after, bridge. These are some of the ones you can test and play with, and these will really help you in just writing more effective copy. And these are the cheat codes that'll just make your emails better. They'll make your social posts better. They'll make your sales pages better. They'll make your webinars better when you're selling. Cool. And you always want to be specific. So write and then insert the cheat code, ADA, about a product or service for a specific audience in specific tone, highlighting these specific pain points and these desires, and it's it into this type of ad, a social media post, Facebook ad, yada yada yada. And you have to play with it and remember, it's going to give you a really good, strong output. But again, you got to be the person who comes in and puts their own flavor in at the end. It's a jumping off point. It's not supposed to do everything for you. I asked it to do this for the product I actually sold. I was shell shocked that it was 80% the same as my actual ad. There was 20% that I did that actually I think made it much better, but 80% as good on the first try. If you find it's not doing a good job, then what I would recommend is you break down the content into smaller parts and ask it to do a smaller part at a time. So let's say you're doing a sales page. Well, it's got a character limit, and most sales pages are pretty long. So what you could do is you could say, ChatGPT, can you break down and put into a chart all of the different common elements found in sales pages in the coaching industry or whatever industry you're in? Amazing. Cool. And then break it down section by section. It's start with a compelling headline. Okay, great. Can you create a compelling headline about XYZ? And then do it one step at a time. And you're more likely to get better copy for things that are longer form. If it's something like a YouTube pre-roll ad, personally, I would break that down and look at a couple of them. And I would just be okay, what are they doing in each section? And then I have ChatGPT model each section. So they probably start with a compelling hook, getting you to pay attention. Some of them are going to give you some tips. Model each section at a time. You can probably try giving it to ChatGPT and say, hey, can you look at this as a model and generate something that's similar with, but about XYZ. I would give you a fair bet that would work.
Wow, I could use that exact thing for my Amazon agency.
Amazing.
It's in frat boy tone. Are you tired at measly profits on FBA? Hey, let us grow your FBA store.
I thought you'd like
that. I screenshotted that. Might try it for a YouTube ad.
I love it. I love it. Just be sure to add in your unique flair, Riley, because people love you for you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cheat codes. All right. You can also ask it to write persuasive bullet points. That's really important for let's say webinar attendance things. You can ask it to write persuasive social media ideas, which I think is brilliant. And actually from what I found is incredibly accurate. Engaging questions for a product or service, features to benefits, even unique selling proposition or unique value propositions. Like, I'm like, that's insane. And then I would say like this, I've been saying throughout this that it's really important to add your own flair. So how can you do that with ease, right? So one of the easiest ways to do that is to use an app like otter.ai and basically get your own voice transcribed and then like integrate it with ChatGPT and say, hey, can you keep X amount of the percentage of these words the same, right? Can you keep 50%, 90% of the words the same, but make it shorter, make it funnier, make it more persuasive, put it in this style, yada, yada, yada. And that's going to help keep more of your own original content. So you're not just copying and pasting what other people are doing on the internet. Because I won't be a helicopter mom here, but like, again, it's not going to work forever that you just can copy and paste things. So you might as well start in the way that you'll end and just do it right the first time. Last but not least is Online Business Manager. So ChatGPT is not yet an online business manager, but what it can do that's really freaking cool is like, let's say you had a meeting and you're like, okay, that was a really cool meeting. Like, what are my action steps? You could literally have like an assistant plug in different sections and like put summaries for you for different sections of this. Like you could say, okay, what's the step-by-step plan here? I actually did this the other day on a coaching call where I was being coached, and like the woman was like, okay, cool. So you're going to make a JV prompt. I was like, and then I'd break down the action steps. I broke down things like what I was afraid of, what was holding me back, what I was considering. I asked ChatGPT for recommendations on what I should do based off of those things, and it gave me great responses. And what's even crazier is it built out an exact timeline of everything my coach told me to do. It also gave me like on demand like content. I was just like, she says to do this. Can you make something like this? And I was like, boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh my God, like almost all my content is done. Like it's a half day. It's insane, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So let's end with the money. I know people really are most interested in how can they make money with this. And so like, here's the net on it. If you're a content creator, the more impressions you get, the more you're seen, the more your know, like, and trust factor goes up, the more your following goes up, the more people who know about you, the more they can buy from you because things are done in percentages. So there's a reason why the Kardashians are able to be billionaires. It is because they are known AF. And so when they sell these little makeup kits, they sell a lot of them. And so in the same way, if you can build a gigantic brand by having your content like Alex Hormozi's is everywhere, right? You're going to make a lot more money. And that's an easy way that you can use ChatGPT and a team to explode this year. If you're not in that business, my professional opinion for someone who has scaled brands radically to 7 figures and beyond is that the biggest money here is going to be using GPT-3 and developing your own apps that can do some of the things I've been talking about in this training and automate it and create value for people. Because I have patience to do these kinds of things, but not a lot of people do. And so if you can create an app that adds value to people, that does these things for them, that like the regular consumer can use, and you can get it in the hands of a lot of people and you have the resilience to get it out there, you can make a lot of money. And Lensa actually just recently did this. They made millions by riding on the back of Stable Diffusion's free OpenAI software. So if y'all have seen the magical avatars that make everybody super good looking, that was actually just, you made some?
Yeah.
Of course. So like that was actually built on free like open source, like image generating code from Stable Diffusion. And they made millions off of that because they've repackaged it and they created something that everyone wants, which is pictures of themselves, So that's my professional opinion. I think that's where all the money is going to be in terms of making millions fast. I do think you can also use it for soul aligned aspects. And I think the coolest thing about this is that just fundamentally, you can hate on ChatGPT and you can say, oh my God, I'm so afraid of this. This is going to replace us, blah, 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 blah. Or you can say, how can I allow this to make me superhuman right now? How can I take this, get ahead of the curve, right? And allow this to catapult me in a way that would never be possible before, so I can live my life, so I can have a beautiful, fun life, traveling the world, doing whatever, so that I don't have to be stuck to my desk, and really explode my brand this year and help a lot of other people along the way by spreading really amazing messages of hope and inspiration. So that is that.
Heck yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you,
awesome.
Riley.
That was a nice, inspiring and touch. And yeah, right there with you, trying to do the same. Help more of us escape that rat race, get out here and live our fullest lives. Live more.
Live more. Exactly. So if y'all want to go to even deeper training on how do you really implement this, I know I talked a lot about getting assistance, and that is like really something that I've been able to help amazing amount of people, 11,000 people do, really scaling them from anywhere from just starting off to helping them make millions of dollars by using international VAs. You can go to livemoreformula.com. I will likely be integrating some information about how do you use AI and assistants together to catapult your brand, but that's really where the magic happens. So if you'd like more information, you can find me over at livemoreformula.com. And I really thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. This is so fun, Riley.
Yeah, that was awesome. I definitely would have just watched that whole video on YouTube. So sweet. Okay, cool. So livemoreformula.com, cool to learn more. And then like if someone wants the slides to these, is this available?
Yeah, get the slides. Yeah. I don't like how would you like to get that to them? Put it in the show notes of the
maybe we put a link or something in the description.
Okay, easy.
Cool. So yeah, links to all Bonnie's stuff, including what she just said in the description. And yeah, that was it. So you're in Thailand right now?
I'm in Thailand. I'm loving it. It's amazing.
Awesome.
I definitely appreciated your YouTube video about Phuket. And now I'm wondering if I should be in Phuket or if I should be where I am now in Koh Phangan, or however you say it.
Yeah.
And I definitely like it here a lot. I like the views a lot here. It's really nice. That's my favorite part.
Phangan is a tropical paradise. I mean, so same with Phuket. It's they're both great. So yeah, if you come over this way, then yeah, check out Phuket. Like Rawai is probably the video you saw. It's a good spot.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. Awesome.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, thanks for everyone for watching. If you watched to the very end, like obviously like this video. Don't forget, share it in your communities, your groups with your friends. And yeah, follow Bonnie as well on Instagram.
That's so fun. Oh, there's all these comments. Cool. Oh, cool. Amazing.
All right. We'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was great, Riley. Thanks so much. I hope you have